Hello everyone, today we are going to have a look at some of the games of day 2 of the World Rapid Championship. I hope you are enjoying our other videos which we have put on our channel. Now let's move on with our recap of the day 2. And also if you would like to see the standings, it's just on your screen. The first game is between Magnus Carlsen and Duda. Before that, let's roll the intro. So, the first game is between Magnus Carlsen and Jan Krzysztof Duda. Here, Magnus Carlsen was white. He opened the game at e4. Black, who was Duda, went c5, knight f3, and knight f6. I personally haven't seen this played on the top level nor at some other levels. Mostly people play the knight c6, d6, or g6, but your knight f6 seems as a new move and can become the trend in some time. E5 here was played, knight d5, knight c3, exchange of knights placed, knight c6 was played, and h4. White just goes for the attack, and this shows that white is preparing long castle. White wants to go long castle. E6. This square is very weakened, and white can eliminate by going d6, and the bishop f4 can be an idea to play, and the bishop f4 was played, controlling the d6 square. Now you cannot go d6 because after take, take, take. Obviously, you're not going to take with the queen, you're going to take with the bishop, and white is going to be up piece. So that's why it, and so it was not played in the game. Sure, you know it. Now let's move. Bishop f4 was played, queen c7 and queen d2, preparing rook d1 to control the d6 square or even long castle. h6 was played, bishop d3, d6, bishop e4, maybe c3, a3 before can get. Black exchanged of the bishops, long castles and queen c6. Queen c3 was played, bishop e7, rook d3, queen e4, g3, and knight a5 attacking the c4 pawn. So rook hd1 giving up that pawn, but let me tell you, if you were to take this pawn, the problem is after knight into c4, obviously this pawn is hanging here, rook coming in, and problem is why the pawn is simply hanging off. That's why in the game he went rook d8, first protecting the pawn, and now knight d2 was played, attacking the queen, and the pawn is protected now. So black has to do something. In black went queen f5, rook f3, knight c6, bishop into h6, knight d4. Some exchange of pieces was placed. White is exchanged down. Magnus Carlsen is exchanged down, but this position is just, I think, better for Magnus Carlsen because if you look, White has more activity, and White proves it after the exchange of bishops. These pawns are just too weak, and after f4, I understand g3 is a weakness, but it can be anytime White can go knight e2 protect it. So really, Black doesn't have many big weaknesses. Rook d3, first of all, protecting this weak pawn. Rook c8, b3, protecting that knight came back. King d2, a4, protecting the f4 pawn. King e3 and king f2 now. The king is also there to protect this pawn, and I think this is just better for white, and Magnus Carlsen converted this with the proper technique. This, according to the engine, is a draw, but Magnus Carlsen just simply converted it. Rook d3, attacking that pawn. Rook d5, rook g8, king f3, a6. And also, it's a rapid match, and in the end game, the players reach down to the uh, low time because they just have a few seconds, a few minutes to make their moves. As you can see in the final move, Magnus Carlsen had about 5 minutes, but Duda had only 22 seconds. This shows that Magnus Carlsen was the one putting the pressure after G7, a big blunder. I think this was the last blunder. I think a move like E5, just blocking off everything, a waiting kind of move, would have been better. But in the game, he went to G7, and this seemed to be a big blunder. But Magnus Carlsen, when Rook D5, he didn't capitalize on it. I think here the best move was take and rook into d6. Now this pawn is hanging, then this pawn will fall, everything. But in the game, what was played was rook d5, king f6. Now he took, I think it was the same thing. And also in this position, he didn't exchange the rook, instead he went e5. You take it, because if he takes, he will take the pawn, then c5. And if you attack this pawn, you can even push, but you have b4 as well. If you go a5, I have c3. And I think Magnus Carlsen pawns was just too powerful. And just a check, knight g3, the rook had to be sacrificed, and this is just complete domination, completely winning. Rook came back, went behind the pawn, pushed it, king f1, and just here Duda resigned the game, and Magnus Carlsen won the game. I think the biggest blunder, rook g7, rook g7, uh, just over here, when it seemed as if position was going to be a draw, even rook g7, the rook on g4 to g7, this was the big d5 was played. Maybe f6 would have been the best way to convert, but rook d5 is not. Now let's move on to our next game, which was played on the second board between Hikaru Nakamura and Fedoseev Vladimir. Revealing anything. This is the second game which we're gonna have a look at. Nakamura was white, Fedoseev Vladimir was black. Nakamura opened the game with d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3 was played, bishop b4, and queen c2 was played here. b5, take bishop g5, bishop h4 was played, c5, take, and knight g6. This is just common theory. e3 was played, 5, bishop g2. Knight e4 was played, and I think this is just common theory. It's equal-ish position. Bishop d3 exchange. Bishop is now gone. Black takes it. But I think white here gets a slight advantage because of this pawn. Everything is activated. Just look at these two pieces which have not been activated till now. And this rook has this open file. That's the biggest advantage. Knight f3 was played, g4, knight h4, d4 take, knight n2, and queen d2. Queen e7 was played, king f1, and I think black here is now has a slight advantage. Bishop e6, knight e4, bishop b6 was played, rook c1, and bishop c7, and white here gets the advantage because this square was so important to be controlled here. A move like knight c6 going back and then knight e5 would have been best. When he went bishop c7, this knight f6 check came in. But I think you could have gone knight c5 attacking this bishop, but even knight f6, queen into and rook into c7 was played, and castle, king g1, rook c8, rook into b7, bishop into a2, king h2, rook a b8. He took the rook, and b4. Bishop e6 was here played. Rook h1, knight b, rook into e6, f into e6, sacrificing exchange, queen c2, and rook into b4. A big blunder. Can you spot the winning move? right here. Yes, it's queen c8 check. Here if you go king d8, queen c7 check, queen f7, and here queen c3 check, winning back the rook might be, but now you're winning the knight because he has goes queen into f2, queen into e6, rook into d3, sacrifice, but you have queen g6 check, king f8, and now queen into f6, king e7, another check, and taking a bed. And this is just complete loss. Obviously, if I converted this with ease, I think he took a little time, not pressurizing himself, brought all the pieces together, exchanged, did exchange because that might have been a little risky. And obviously, you cannot go here knight d3 to pin the king and queen because this queen is pinning the knight. And here, just a few checks, and here, after the exchange, it's just obviously lost. And it was in this position that Fedoseev Vladimir resigned the game and Hikaru Nakamura. Now let's move on to our next game, which is between Caruana, Fabiano, and Antón Guijarro David. Let's have a look what happened. Uh, Caruana Fabiano. White in this game, he opened the game with e4. Black was Antón Guijarro. When c6, he's 2693. As you can see, his rating c6, d4, d5, take, and bishop d3, knight e6 was played, c3, 6 was played, bishop f4, knight g e7, knight f3, f6, queen c2, g5, bishop g3, knight f5. I think this is equality for both sides. I mean, h5 and h4. Change again, and knight g, bishop g3, knight e2, protecting this one, and going here was the reason I had to bring e2, and now knight f4 can also be played. What was played in the game was queen c7, long castle sacrificing a pawn, rook into bishop d7, d6, and rook f1, launching a superb attack, queen d3, queen into rook f7, rook h8, bishop h7, rook d8, queen e3, king b8, queen f4, d5 take, bishop e6, rook f6, rook into h7, and knight f3. And Caruana Fabiano is just crushing this off. He had to sacrifice. Also, if you play a random move, I mean, why? He had to sacrifice this queen because the queen is trapped here. And where does it go? Queen g3 is controlled, queen h3 is controlled, these two squares by the king, queen g5 control, and you cannot take this because the queen is under pen. So he has to sacrifice pawn into rook c7, knight g5, f7. He had to sacrifice a bishop as well, and this is just resignable, and he resigned here. Fabiano Caruana just crushed his opponent into pieces. Yeah, he just won the game. Now, a final game which we are gonna see is between Nepomniachtchi and Timur. Not revealing much. I'm just gonna go back and let's flip the board because Nepomniachtchi was black, and after having a big loss at the World Championship 2021, he has come back. As you can see, he's on the fourth position in the standings. These are the top 10 in the open section, actually. And Nepomniachtchi being black. His opponent Gareyev Timur opened the game with knight f3, 6, c4, c5, g3, d5, bishop g2, knight c6 was played, queen a4, bishop d7, exchange of pawns. Black avoided the exchange of knights, queen e4, g6, Knight e5, bishop g7, knight d7, queen d7. Castle was played here and castle as well. This is, I think, a pretty equal position. And here queen a4 was played, pinning down this knight, and rook b8, bishop c6, and white gets a pawn, but I think black has the one some advantage. H5, the best move in the position. E3, bishop g7, queen c4 was played, knight e6. These squares, just have a look, they're so weak. Knight will come to g5, check, bring in the queen. It's just too good position for black, even though he's a pawn. Indeed, just have a look. Black has all his pieces activated while white has only three pieces into the game, while these two pieces are just simply sleeping down. In this position, f5 blocking off. Sorry, after f5, d4 take, pawn takes, king at 7, just moving out of the pawn, and now black is going to move his king into the camp. Rook a6, rook d8, and white has the advantages surprisingly. Not surprising, obviously white is pressing here now. White's bishop, rook, everything going to be activated soon. But black gets a pawn, and now this is equal. This is black has achieved equality after going slightly worse position. Queen d7, rook d1, knight d5 was played b5. Black is pressing here e6. Knight c3, queen into c6, a very subtle sacrifices. We have just seen so many sacrifices in this rapid championship in the past games. Also, I have shown you some exchange sacrifices, but this is just a queen sacrifice. Pawn takes knight and c3, attacking the rook because I'm threatening now this knight c2 idea. And if you go rook e1, rook b1 is there, and that's why the sacrifice is just too good. Now two rooks versus the queen, queen d7, and now black has some advantage. This is just completely lost because queen d3, and this is just lost after rook a, queen d3, rook c3, and the bishop is gone. And Nepomniachtchi won his game. His opponent Gareyev Timur resigned the game. I think the black came over here after this amazing sacrifice. Rook in a c6, queen d7, check, and queen king f3 was a blunder because now after rook e8 coming here, this is a sort of checkmate. So the best move here was to go king h3, and black can still fight it out. But in the game, he went king f3, rook a8, and this is just lost. Maybe even queen d6 would have been triable, but still, it's just simply lost. Even queen d3, and after rook c3, resigned the game, and yeah, Nepomniachtchi won it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell icon. Thanks for watching.